Hey hackers, and welcome back for a new episode at the 5 Minute Career Hack. This week we are going to be unpacking salary ranges and research. There's a daily ritual that we have adopted at the 5 Minute Career Hack as a team, and it has come after we have read the book We Should All Be Millionaires by Rachel Rodgers. Now, in this book, she introduces a phenomenon called Hello 7. And I could go through all 7 steps, but that's not what we're talking about this week. But there is one that I do want to highlight, and it is called Look at Your Money. Now, I'm sure I don't have to encourage you to do this when it comes to looking at your grocery bill. I'm sure you paid at the pump if you don't have an electric car. I'm sure in some way, if there's a service that you're rendering, you have been taxed as the provider is being taxed. And I'm sure you are all ears right now on how can I not only make my dollar stretch further, but how can I get paid more for what I'm already doing? And that's what we're going to look at this week. Let's start with this. Inflation is at its highest level in 4 decades. And many workers are seeking a big pay raise this year. However, 66% of companies are stating that they will not be increasing their salary budget simply because of inflation. 66%. So what does that mean? Simply telling your boss about all the rising costs and the rising cost of everything is unlikely to score you a significant raise. So what does that mean? You need to dig deeper. And this inflation is a piece of the story. It's not the whole story. So I want to give you 5 things that I want you to look at this week to help you really get started with a inventory of where you currently are and what you're bringing to the table, but to equip you of what to put into the system so you can understand your market value. So this is a good time that I want to pause and highlight a service that we already provide. So if you have not taken advantage of it, I would press pause or I put that in your notes and run to our website. Jamila does a fantastic job of utilizing PayScale. PayScale is a actual website that will help you understand the market value of your skills. Highly recommend that. This week, I want to encourage you to use Salarycom. And at the end of the day, there are so many search engines. We'll be highlighting this as we always do on our socials, so you can utilize this as we talk about this episode this week for you to reference. But this week, I want to use Salary.com. And here's what we're going to put in. So the number one thing that we're going to look at is education. So through the pandemic, have you acquired a new certificate? Have you began to take more webinars and done some self-studying and upskilling that now can be applied to your knowledge? Have you recently finished a degree program? Oftentimes we notice as we're coaching our clients that people will underestimate the value of new education or increased skill set that they have based on knowledge that they've gained because they're doing the same job. Well, you are not the same even though you're still doing that job, and there are companies that will increase your compensation as you continue to develop yourselves because that helps their workforce when they're analyzing their current employees. Number 2, your direct reports. Are you a leader of people, or have you recently moved to leading others? Why this is important is your market value is increasing, okay? Because not only are you an individual contributor, but you're making others better. This matters because if your team has expanded, your job looks different. Many times companies will change this and not factor this into your pay. Well, this is where you're going to input this into the system and understand what people that are doing the same scope of work as you are doing maybe at other companies. Performance, this matters. And oftentimes what we notice, and studies show this as well, is that those that are top tier employees, meaning that you're doing exceptional work, you're getting the highest rating or excellent reviews year over year, think that that's what they should be doing. And that's just how you're wired, right? To be a high performer. However, everyone is not doing what you're doing. Okay, so when you think about this, there's a huge drop off, and those of us that study this, there's a huge drop off between top and second tier even performance. We're not even saying middle of the pack. So anybody that would be considered an A player is bringing different things to the game. So this is where you want to go back to that episode called Brag Notes that Candyce walked us through, and she gives you a ton of resources on how to record and capture this. This is where you want to reference that and bring that into the system so you can understand. Okay, so a couple of things to consider in this one. Have you increased productivity? Have you suggested something that has increased the savings of the company? May that be productivity that's increased because of it. Maybe it's helped attract more talent to the company. Maybe it's helped retain. These are all things that are beyond the scope of your current job. Okay. So the next one is your years of experience. Okay. By default, right, as we stay on the job, this is an area that's constantly kind of ticking up. Right now, we are in a different time, right, in the workplace where no longer are people saying you should be in a role for a certain amount of years, or is that impacting you maybe getting another job. However, this is an area that you should be seeing an increase in value, meaning to your pocketbook at your company. So research shows currently employees that stay with their company got about a 6% increase in this area. So if you haven't received that in regards to like a retention bonus or maybe even a higher raise or an equity increase over the last years, especially through COVID, and you've been loyal, this is something to be equipped with to take back to your current supervisor. And if they are not educated in this role and they're kind of brushing you off, this is where putting this into an engine like Salary.com or PayScale will help you bring back data. Okay. And then last but not least, who you report to. Has your organization become flatter? And what does that mean? That means there been a level of leadership that's been eliminated, and now you report to someone with a higher title. Now, while your title may not have increased, the scope of your job now has. Understand that if I'm now reporting to a director or a vice president, and my role is lead or manager, in other companies, your role, when we look at the scope of the job, actually may be at a director level. I'm going to highlight and just run through our 5 one more time. Okay, so go back and look at your education, your direct reports, your performance, your years of experience, and who you report to. And hopefully this will now lay the groundwork for you doing some research and salary analysis for yourself. Take care.
Get started researching your next salary negotiation by watching our free video tutorial on payscale.com. Visit our website to access that now for free at 5minutecareerhack.teachable.com.